Zulu family, Tank Commander Zulu back at you once again in that Real Man Movement. Today, here at the Real Man Movement, we're going to be discussing social distancing and social madness. Are we falling victims to madness because of social distancing here in the land of the coronavirus? Let's talk about it today here with Tank Commander Zulu and the Real Man Movement. Fire in the hole, baby. Salute family. Tank Commander Zulu back at you once again in that Real Man Movement. Before we go into the topic of discussion today, which is social distancing and social madness, I would like to encourage everyone to become a subscriber to the channel. If you have not subscribed to the channel, please subscribe today. And when you look at the videos, give them a thumbs up. It's greatly appreciated by the Tank Commander. And also, I would also like to encourage you to become a subscriber to Dante's Boxing Nation, the baddest brand in the land, baby. There'll be more about Dante's Boxing Nation in the description. Now back to the topic of discussion: social distancing and social madness. We're here as the days continue to roll by and we begin to learn more and more about the coronavirus that's ravaging the land. One of the things that we have learned to practice is social distancing. Well, I should say we're learning to practice because we haven't quite got it right as of yet. But social distancing is one of the things throughout the world we're recommended to practice in an attempt to get a hold on the coronavirus, to slow the death rate down, to slow the infection rate down. Well, social distancing meaning that, we can't totally socially be distant. We have to encounter people one way or another. But now we take certain precautions. One of the precautions is that we keep a certain distance from individuals. Where normally, as people, we quite oftenly invade each other's personal space. Sometimes we can just be greeting a person, giving them a hug, shaking their hand. We get relatively close to them. And whether we realize it or not, we are ingesting whatever bacterial germs they may have, and they're ingesting whatever bacterial germs we have. So one of the common sense principles is to try to avoid our normal way of interacting socially in the area of invading our space. Well, in doing so, many people have become socially mad. And I'm going to say it. That's right. It's not only about social distancing with these people. They have become socially mad. They're experiencing social madness. Is it due to the social distancing? Is it due to the fact that a lot of people may have so-called cabin fever? They've been forced to be locked inside, and it's so against their natural way of living that when they do come out into the public, they really exhibit madness. Now you may say, Tank Commander, what you really mean about that? You're confusing me a little bit. Well, let me get you right on track. Let me get you on the tank. There's reports beginning to crop up. As you look at the news and as you look at social media, everywhere you go, people have a phone. When something happens, somebody is recording. You can believe that. Well, social media is beginning to show us, in particular social media, and the news as well, is beginning to show social madness among people who are supposed to be practicing social distancing. That madness is coming in the form of judgment and fear. Some people are seeing people do some absurd things. And I've seen some people, do some absurd things. They have on some absurd outfits to so-called safeguard themselves from other people, from the germs they may receive or they can pick up from other people, from any kind of other social contact. And they're absurd. They're absurd. And then you have other people. Some people who may be taking it lightly. They may not wear a mask. They may not, think too much of violating your personal space. Because in their minds, they're not 100%, as of yet, convinced that the coronavirus is as dangerous as it's proving to be. And along the way, I've learned, I just recently lost a great aunt of mine. She was 94 years old to the coronavirus. And how she caught it, we're still trying to figure out. It was a mystery in the beginning, but it's becoming more clear now. Because of certain social interactions that she had to have, one way or another, she was exposed to someone who had the coronavirus, whether they knew it or not. And she died. She was 94 years old, so she had developed respiratory issues in the form of pneumonia in both of her lungs. And at the age of 94, her body just couldn't fight it any longer. So yes, the coronavirus is real. But now we have to really maintain a sound state of mind concerning it. If we practice social distancing with a sound mind, we'll be okay. But it's not a sound thing to practice social distancing from a mentality of social madness. Look, there's people right now, there's videos out there, people in the store fighting one another because one's not wearing a mask, one got too close to them, they feel that person isn't practicing the social distancing policies that's out there, and so it's causing rage to the fact where you lose your common sense. These people are actually fighting. So now you're trying to tell me you've gotten to the point now where you were standing for social distancing, what started the entire altercation was someone getting too close to you or in your personal space. You went from just, instead of simply saying, well, excuse me, or backing away, you decided to aggravate the situation and get into a fight with that person, which violates all of the principles you were standing for in the first place. That is social madness. There's reports of even doctors getting into fights with people because they felt they violated the social distancing policy. Physically putting hands on someone. This is what it's turning into. The social distancing is turning into social madness. Why is this happening? Well, a lot of people, the principles that they tend to live on are personal principles, simply based on how they feel. Some people want to be the judge and jury to everything that another person does. And that's wrong. That boat won't float in a lot of places. Some people simply will not accept your personal judgment on them or what you are telling them to do. Some people simply won't do that. And when we encounter these kinds of people, it's important as real men and real women to understand who we are dealing with. I just got to come out and say it. Some people are just plumb crazy. It doesn't make a difference if they're violating social distancing or they're adhering to it. When you're plumb crazy, when you're really dealing with a social madness, so to speak, everything you see of somebody, you have to cast a judgment on it. You want the people to do what you want them to do. based off the very small bit of information you have. And, you know, sometimes these people can be right, and most of the time they're really wrong. They're agitators. And anytime that you can see a situation where someone may be in violation and you attempt to correct them aggressively because you feel you in authority in that area, I'm going to say what I want to say, and if they don't listen, I'm going to do what I need to do. That's the baser way of thinking. You see, we've been drawn into our baser instincts as human beings because of social distancing. What's going to happen as we go forward? Because as we go forward, things may certainly change. The way we interact socially may totally change. And we have to continue to live and exist in an environment that is so different than we are accustomed to. That doesn't mean that we go socially mental, that we lose our common sense, and we lose our compassion for the next individual. We can't do that. You see, this social isolation, so to speak, or social distancing, which has driven us into social isolation, is driving people into social madness. And it can do that. But where's that spirit coming from? Where's this negative energy coming from where people are physically challenging one another because of their personal understandings of what social distancing is and what they are observing from another individual? It's causing chaos. It's causing violence. Well, you mean to tell me you can't go to the store, and maybe just because you have your mask on and you're doing the things that you necessarily need to do, and you see someone that may not even be in your personal space, maybe past 6 feet from where you are, maybe past, maybe much further, but you feel that you need to be the one to go and straighten them out. You see, you're mad. And that particular type of madness causes chaos. And it's starting to show its face, in particularly here in America. There's other countries as well. In the UK, there's all type of information out there on the internet showing this particular social madness now. How do we safeguard ourselves from the social madness when we've been tucked in and isolated for so long now? And we're learning how to live socially a very different way. We're learning how to greet each other very differently, to converse with each other personally very differently than we've become accustomed to. Well, one of the things that can help us, and you know the Tank Commander is big on spirituality, y'all, because without it, we are totally lost. There's something in the Bible this reminds me of. There's a verse in the Bible, in the book of Matthew chapter 4, verses 1 through 11. And I'm going to go ahead and paraphrase the story. The story is about Jesus Christ when he walked the earth in the physical fleshly form. Him being tempted by the devil. He's led out into the wilderness to fast for 40 days and 40 nights. And when he's finished fasting, he's accosted by the devil. In other words, the devil tempts him. The devil comes to him in his weakest point, physically, after fasting for 40 days and 40 nights. The devil comes to him and offers him certain things. He tempts him. One of the things he says, well, if you be the Son of God, turn these stones into bread. See, the devil's trying to get a reaction out of him. But Jesus stands firm and says that man cannot live by bread alone, but out of every word that proceeded out of the mouth of God. That was his answer to the madness. You see, the devil was trying to throw him into a situation where he was getting control over him. Similar to what's going on today, but we're going to make it all connect. So Jesus answers that first temptation. The second time, the devil takes him on a temple, on a high spot on a temple, and tells him to go ahead and jump off. He said, if you really be the Son of God, when you jump off, the angels will catch you. You won't be able to hurt yourself at all. See, he was trying to get him to kill himself. But Jesus answered and said, thou shalt not tempt the Lord thy God. So once again, the devil takes him again into a high mountain, shows him all the kingdoms, and say, look, all of this will be yours if you just simply bow down and worship me. And Jesus said, thou shalt not worship any but the Lord thy God. And by him responding that way, and the devil goes, the devil has to leave. And the angels come and minister to Jesus. You see, and I paraphrase that for everybody, whatever version you want to read, you can get the same understanding of what I'm trying to say here. See, Jesus was put into isolation, just like we are. When he came out of isolation, he was immediately greeted by the tempter, the devil. You see, sometimes we can come out because we're not used to living the way we're living now, and go out into society and get tempted automatically by people who have a different kind of agenda. But Jesus, every time, in every way the devil threw something at him, Jesus threw something back. It didn't resort to violence. It didn't resort in him losing his cool or losing his character. It simply was him standing on the promise of God. And you see, let me tell you something. While we're all driven into this isolation, this period of social distancing, you have to encourage and keep encouraging yourself in the word of the Lord. So when you get out and you have to go out, and after practicing social distancing for so long and meeting people who are going to tempt you, just like Jesus was tempted, we have to understand how we are to respond. It's futile to respond with violence. Think about it. It doesn't make any sense if I'm stopping you and accosting you because I feel you're not living by the social distancing rules, and we get into a fist fight. Well, now all of that goes out the window. Everybody looks silly. You're wearing masks, your sanitizer, all that's for nothing because now you're in a physical altercation. Or you've created a condition where a physical altercation has begun. It's foolish. You see, in Matthew 4, with Jesus himself, the flesh form, after fasting for 40 days, 40 nights, coming out of that and being met by the devil automatically, who has a totally different agenda. His agenda is to cause chaos and make him worship him, to make the flesh of Jesus worship the devil. You see, all that, when someone accosts you or comes to you in this environment we're living today, and they're being controversial, we have to learn to the best of our ability to challenge that with a faith system that has been embedded in us through our reading of the scripture. What did Jesus do? And look, we may fall short, but many times when we consider the ways of God, it saves us. It changes that environment. You see, Jesus changed the environment he was in with the devil tempting him. We have the ability to do the same thing, y'all. Believe it or not. But listen, remember, in the time we're living in right now, we have to practice social distancing. We have to be in our isolation. But when we come out, we still have to deal with people. We still have to deal with one another. how we deal with one another is of the most importance. And every real man and real woman needs to consider the ways of God. And with that, family, I'm going to stop the tank. But before I do, I want you to subscribe to the channel if you're not already a subscriber, and also give the videos a thumbs up. And I want you guys, everybody, all my fans and all the subscribers, to go and check out Dante's Boxing Nation, baby, the baddest brand in the land. Dante is one of the promoter of my channel. He made the channel grow on his platform, and I would encourage everyone, if you have a YouTube channel, if you are into music, if you are a writer, whatever you may be doing, that you get with Dante and Dante's Boxing Nation, baby, the baddest brand in the land, and let him promote what you got going on. And with that, family, remember, fear no man but God, baby. No man but God. Tank Commander Zulu, signing out.